As a business owner, one of the big questions that you'll encounter is picking a unique name that nobody else is using. How do you do that? Well, first you can Google it to see if anyone else is using it. But if you're using a word, most likely somebody else is using that. So, when are you allowed to use it and when are you not? Well, let's say, for example, you want to do a brand name for Delta typewriters. Could you use that? Well, when you go to search Delta, you find out, oh yeah, there's Delta Airlines. One of the big United States airline brands is Delta. Does that mean you cannot use it for a typewriter company? What do you think? Well, I was going to fix a problem in one of our sinks. And when I looked at the brand of the sink, the faucet in particular, it was Delta. You can see here some of the parts that I've purchased for this repair. I'm going to be repairing a Delta faucet. So clearly in the faucet category, Delta can be used, and in the airline category, Delta can be used. Why is that? It's because as a general rule, you can use a word, even though it's trademarked, as long as you use it in a distinct enough industry or a different enough industry that consumers won't be confused. So what do you think? If a consumer goes to buy a little product here, do you think that they're going to wonder, hey, I wonder if that's made by Delta Airlines? No, it's a sink product. There's no likelihood that consumers will be confused by whether Delta Airlines made that product or some other company in the sink industry and faucet industry. That's the test. Are consumers likely to be confused? If the answer is no, they're not likely to be confused, then you can use the same name as another company, and it generally won't be considered trademark infringement. There are some exceptions to this. That's the big brands. For example, can you do a Mercedes computer? No, because the Mercedes brand is so big that you're not going to be able to use a big brand like that on any products. So the really big brands you can't use anywhere, because even though people may not confuse it as the same company, there's a separate legal doctrine that comes up called dilution. Dilution is where you're trying to ride the coattails of another company. You're hoping their vibe or their good reputation will somehow sprinkle some goodwill in the minds of the consumers onto your product. You're getting a free ride on their brand. So you can't call anything Mercedes without diluting their mark, and thus Mercedes would have a claim against you. Even though it's not technically trademark infringement, it would likely be trademark dilution. I'm Aaron Hall, an attorney for business owners and entrepreneurial companies. As I always say, before you rely on any of this, consult with an attorney. It's my hope that you use these questions to identify topics and questions to bring up with your attorney. I hope you are doing well. Take care.